Yeah, man. So what you been up to?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's weird
Well, you
because
thought I was asking P man?
yeah, kind of. Um, what have I been up to?
Yeah.
Not too much, honestly. Just like streaming a lot. I'm actually doing
Okay.
school too.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm actually working on a degree in sports psychology.
For sure.
Online.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I have a few friends doing that.
Yeah, it's I mean, I have like a big athletic background. I played
Yeah. Yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
I've coached baseball.
hmm
Um, and I also have a psych background. Because I
Oh,
think,
really?
yeah, I mean, like when I was at school, I studied psychology, and
Okay.
I've always been really interested in psychology. I always did well in
For sure.
psychology. And also like my entire family is basically, except for my dad, are psychologists. So like
Really
it's like in my
interesting.
yeah, it's funny
What do
actually.
they do with that? Are they therapists or do they just
Um,
like research it?
so my mom is a trauma therapist. Um,
Okay.
and
Okay.
then like my uncle is a school psychologist.
hmm
Um, my grandfather is a research psychologist.
Okay.
So they're all kind of different, but it's funny because
Interesting.
my like my uncle and aunt and my grandparents like live in the same, like we all kind of live kind of close together, and so they work in the
Yeah.
same building, and so there's a door, and it just has like 4 or 5 names of like my last name,
Yeah.
like PhD. Like it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I would you want to do something like that? Like become a therapist or research psychologist or something?
Um, I really I really love psychology. I really
hmm
do like the field, but and I like helping people too. But
For sure.
to be a therapist is it's a tall task because you're taking on like,
Yeah.
especially if you're like, I'm a very sensitive person, so like, I my cup is full dealing with my own shit. And
Right.
so
Right.
it's hard, dude. Like I don't know how my mom does it. And she's like a trauma therapist. Like she
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
talks with people about real
Sounds tough.
shit.
Yeah.
Um and so yeah, it's I think it would be a burden for me. But I think sports psychology is right up my alley because
hmm
there's so many things. It's a growing field too,
For
and
sure. Yeah.
there's just so many like ways I can go with it. And
hmm
yeah, I don't know. Like I think whenever you first go into like anyone who first goes into psychology is like therapist because that's like the one
Yeah.
thing you think of, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
But and then I think once you realize like how many different things you can do with psychology, it's like,
Yeah.
well, maybe I want to do something more to my interest. I think it's
I feel
funny.
like it's just.
No,
Sorry. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say it's
Go
like
ahead.
we kind of just like got started without like we could just keep talking about this dude.
I like talking to people.
No, for sure.
I like learning about it. You know, because I'm kind of interested in psychology too, because I just think it's really interesting. Like I took a psychology class in high school, and I'm required to take psychology courses for my math education major, because like as a math teacher, you're supposed to be able to understand the kids, right? So, um, I took a psych class senior year, and I really liked it, but I did sleep through a lot of it.
Yeah.
So, but I've always been interested in psychology. So I mean, hearing from someone who's actually like studying it, it's actually really cool. So
You know
yeah,
what?
best of luck with that. I
I
really hope that works out for you.
I appreciate that. You know what class that you would really like is
Yeah.
psych stats. It's
Okay.
statistics based on, and I don't know if I'm assuming you like math.
Yeah,
If
I
you're
do.
gonna study
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
but it's statistics based on psychology. So
Okay.
it's like it's almost like math, but it actually has application to like really interesting psychological things. Like it's a lot of like studies, right? And
Yeah.
it's 20 people did this, and 10 people had this outcome, 10 people had this outcome, and you find like the standard deviation,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
draw
Yeah.
results from that as well. So it's like you do math
Right.
and then you also like draw conclusions. And I
Like
was
psychological conclusions.
yeah, like psych
Yeah. Okay.
conclusions
Okay.
based on the math.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
I absolutely loved that when I took that
That
class
sounds so
in school
cool.
because
Dude, you're making me dork out. That sounds really
no,
cool.
for sure.
Seriously.
It's
I
dude,
wonder if I'm like required to take that. I don't know. I might be. So
potentially.
I feel like I actually maybe not. Probably not. Actually, because that's less math, more psych, if anything.
It's okay to get excited about
Oh,
like
I know.
school.
I know.
Because there is stuff that is fun, and like when you find
Mhm.
a it's funny because like we we go through our lives and most of us loathe school, right? Like most of us
Right.
never liked getting up
Yeah.
for school and whatever. There's a lot of adversity and it sucks. But once you find a class, like once you find a like one class that you like really just like click with,
Yeah.
it changes. Like you're like, oh my god, this is I want to do this. Like this is so
Well,
cool.
for me personally, like, okay, I always hated school. Like I always absolutely despised it. Like especially since like 5th grade, I started missing a lot of school for like various reasons, whatever. But at some point in high school, like I was taking a bunch of like calculus classes, and my little sister, was in middle school, and she needed help with some of her math homework, and I was helping her with it. And like before I knew it, I was completely just like geeking out on all this random stuff, and that like she would never need to know.
Yeah.
Like she was literally just like, it's literally like, 2x plus 7 equals whatever, solve for x, right? Simple stuff like that. And I'm just like, and like by the end of the night, I'm just like, yeah, so this is tangent, this is sine, this is how you take the derivative, right? And I'm just like doing all this crap.
And what grade
And I'm
was she
like,
in?
if I like 7th grade, 8th grade, I don't know, but at some point, she'll take those classes. She'll thank me.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, that's when I realized I'm like, man, maybe I should teach math if I'm this much of a geek about it. So
I always found, especially with math, that I got a lot of gratification from like helping other people like that.
yeah,
You know
for
what I mean?
sure, for sure. Yeah.
Especially like yeah, I mean, especially I'm assuming like, you know, helping your sister, like that's someone who you really care about. And so
Hmm.
not only do you get to like kind of show off a little bit, but you're actually like
Yeah.
you're helping out. So
Well, math is just like, I don't know why, but it's something about it's just really intriguing to me. It's really interesting. Like if you can really understand like the details of things and why it's working, like once I was able to really kind of understand things, I had a lot of fun with it. So like especially when I was learning like basic calculus, and we learned like integrals, and the whole thing where it's like, I don't know how many math classes you've taken. I assume you've taken some. Like
quite a
you've
few.
taken
Yeah,
calculus,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
Okay,
No,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I've taken calc.
But
Yeah.
like, yeah, so we took, so you'd like take the integral of something, and it's like that represents the area under the graph, right? And like when I first learned that, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like, what are the like? Why does that work? And I was learning about it, and it was just, and then I went on and took some harder classes, and it made a little less sense, but it was still cool. So
No, for sure. And
we'll see.
as you go along, like not just with school, but with just things that you're interested, you'll find that math is application to like everything.
Yeah,
Like I
for
started
sure.
using like I mean, look at OOT, right? There are a lot
Yeah,
of math
yeah,
applications to OOT, and like you
yeah,
can and that's just how like human nature um by nature we end up fusing our interests, right?
for sure.
And like that's
Yeah,
the dream, right? Is to like
yeah,
if you
yeah,
you know, if you like video games and you like math and you like gymnastics or something, you could
yeah,
do like imagine how
yeah,
cool that would be to like write or like not write the code, but I don't know what the exact integration would be, but like make all
right,
those go together. Um, but like what I was saying is just yeah, you'll find applications for everything and ways to combine
for sure,
certain things.
for sure.
And yeah, it's exciting for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I don't know. Part of growing up always like gives me anxiety naturally, but no, I talked to this one guy. He was a year below me. I talked to him like a few months ago, and like I just met him for the first time, and he was talking to me about what he wants to do. He wanted to be like he wanted to like design clothes, sell clothes, and do all like maybe do music, like all this artistic stuff. And he just had such a positive outlook on things, in the sense that he was like, he just said that he was fully prepared to be like absolutely dirt poor, just like on the streets of New York, like begging for money. But he said like he's excited to do what he loves, and I just that was a very interesting perspective to me that I never really considered. And so I'm kind of just like, a part of me is still anxious, obviously, but I mean, I think it'll be fun. You know, I'm looking forward to doing stuff that I enjoy, if that makes sense. So
For sure. I think it's important to have a combination of different perspectives. So,
for sure, yeah.
for example, it's really great to be optimistic. It's good to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, kind of the things that you were talking about is, and this is something that I struggle with too. I have massive anxiety. There are always going to be points in your life when you get anxious about things.
For
And
sure.
you are continuously going to be finding yourself and trying to improve yourself. So, in a way, growing up never stops. You're
Yeah.
always trying to better yourself. So, it's important to learn how to live within that. And I think there are parts of life where you're going through a period of more so change. Like you're in a huge period of adaptation right now going into school. But you'll find a groove, right? Like you're gonna
For sure.
find
Yeah.
a path. And granted, you might not always stay on that path. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
life puts us on different paths, and we have to do the best
Of
that we
course.
can on that path.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that most people who it depends how early you set your plan. I think the later, a lot of people who say this is what I'm gonna do at like the end of college. Good amount of people go on and do that stuff, but sometimes they
For
don't.
sure.
But right, like people who say they know what they're gonna do as like a freshman in high school, that usually changes, right?
Right. Right.
But
Right.
it can change at any point in your life.
For sure. Yeah.
So I think it's important to know that it's certainly okay to be anxious, especially
Yeah. No,
with
I know.
like everything that's been going on lately with COVID. I mean, that
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
been so crazy, just so impactful to all of our lives in so many different ways, and especially including mental health. But yeah, I mean, especially like you're also trying to figure out how to balance stuff, right? Because like
Yeah. Yeah.
you're doing streaming, you're speedrunning, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're in college now. And I'll tell you, like, for me, I was recruited to play baseball in college, and I I also like I mean I was really struggling like mentally at that time. So personally, I really couldn't find how to balance those two. I mean, there were two major things, right? I mean, I went to a very good school, and
Right.
college baseball is no joke. But it's important to know how to balance stuff. Do you feel like you're starting to kind of figure that? Like, I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about that? Like, is
I
one thing more important than the other? Like, you know what I mean?
Okay. I'm sure we'll touch on this later. Okay. The way that
World
like
record over school.
the way that I like what's the word? Like distribute my energy,
Yeah.
right? That the way that I gauge it, I don't. I just have random spurts of energy. Like the whole Defeat Ganon, like recently,
Oh, here we go.
like
Here we go.
like a week prior, I had no intention of ever running that category again. Literally never. And then it was like all of a sudden, it's like P-Man found this new strat, and I'm just like, why not? Let's go for a better time. I didn't like my time, and here we are. So,
Here we are.
but I mean, like, I don't necessarily think one thing's more important than the other. In terms of like school versus streaming. Streaming is it's more fun, good for me mentally, just spending time with people that I enjoy. Because in a sense, it's like I see my community kind of like a family, Because part of me, I don't necessarily get excited to stream because I'm excited to do runs. I'm excited to talk to chat and, meet people, do all that. But at the same time, obviously, school is very important. You got to make a living somehow. But the so I've also dealt with my fair share of like anxiety,
For sure.
depression, stuff like that. So like I learned a lot at a young age, just about like how to balance things and how to manage things. And I think I'm actually doing like I think part that's actually been very helpful to me in terms of like transitioning to college, because I think I'm actually doing a lot better than most people, just because
Nice.
like I know I've dealt with a lot of anxiety in the past, and a lot of people get understandably anxious about transitioning to college life. But for me,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I have ways to cope with it. I have a much better outlook on it. Like I'm able to learn from it, and like a lot of people, they'll be losing their shit, and I'm just kind of like, you know, like yeah, I'm a little anxious, yeah, but like that's okay, and I'm okay. Yeah, like you know what I mean.
It's kind of like
So
what we talked about before, right? It's learning to live through it. It's
yeah,
learning to
exactly,
exist and just
exactly.
understand that, like, yes, you're anxious. That's fine. Yes, you don't have
Well,
everything figured out.
yeah,
That's fine.
exactly. That's kind of what this first week has been for me at college. Well, I guess it's week 2 now, but um, for me, it's just been like I'm kind of just experimenting. Like I'm trying to stream. Like I'm going to classes, obviously, trying to manage my homework. Right now, I'm just kind of seeing what works, what doesn't, and that's how I need to do it. Like I'm the kind of person I need to just kind of experiment, see what works,
Yeah.
and then just roll with that. So, but like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being like overly positive, and I think that I'm doing way better than everyone
No,
else.
I think
But
you're
I
being
mean,
honest.
like, I think I'm. I guess I shouldn't compare myself to others, but I'm happy with how I've done transitioning to college for sure.
That's, dude, it's totally fine to give yourself a pat on the back. I mean, this is a time
Yeah,
where, like,
yeah, yeah,
this is a time, honestly, where, like, if you're not in a crisis, you should be giving yourself a pat on the
yeah.
back. Like,
Well,
it's for a lot of people, it's crazy.
yeah. The thing is, like back in high school, there would be times where I would wake up and be so ridiculously anxious that I wouldn't even be able to go to school.
Yeah.
Right. So I missed a lot of days like that, and but like it hasn't been like that nearly, like it hasn't been like that at all. These past 2 weeks, like I've felt okay. I'm just trying to meet people. Like there have been days where I've been like feeling down or anxious or whatever, but like that's natural, and I think
We all have
understanding
bad
that's very
days.
important, obviously. Exactly. So I'm happy that, especially compared to high school, like I've made progress,
Yeah.
and yeah, like I'm not perfect, but I'm getting there, like I'm making progress, getting better every day. So
Dude, that's awesome.
yeah,
Streaming, like, no, I think, dude, streaming, the social aspect of streaming helps so
yeah,
much. Like, especially, so it's a little different for me, right? So I've been streaming for a while, but I didn't start really like investing a lot into it and investing in my community until I actually started like speedrunning OOT last year.
yeah,
And like, I'm someone who, right, like, you got a ton of friends in high school. When you leave high school, like, unfortunately, you don't stay in touch with everyone. And you make new
right,
friends in
right,
college, but I moved around schools. So
okay,
I am not someone who's retained a ton of friends throughout my life. And
okay,
so, like you said, when I get on to stream, like, I'm getting on to connect with my
yeah,
friends, like the
exactly,
majority of the
yeah,
people who I know, actually. Like, I know my family, and I know, some people who I've kept in touch with, but it's like, it's a genuine connection, right, to some
for
people.
sure, for sure,
Um, so I think if you can try your best to keep that in your life while you're at school,
yeah,
because especially, when you're at a new place and you might feel alone sometimes with trying to meet new people and a completely new experience, streaming is comfy. It's nice
yeah,
to
yeah, it is,
do something that you love and you're good at, and also to, while you're doing that, to be able to interact with your friends. Like, that's a pretty sweet deal,
for
right?
sure. I think it's funny because I try to explain it to people, like just everyday like IRL friends, and it's like understandably it's hard for them to
Yeah, no, for sure.
totally grasp it. But it's like I explain to like my parents and stuff. It's like, yeah, streaming isn't just about playing video games. It's like it's about meeting people, talking to people, and because it's like it's hard to tell this. It's hard to tell your parents that some of your closest friends you met online.
Yeah.
But like it's true. There are a lot of people that I've met who I feel much more comfortable talking to about like personal stuff than I would some of my real life friends. So it's just kind of it's an interesting thing, and I'm very glad I got myself involved in it. Because I think it's been a very positive it's had a very positive impact on me for sure.
Yeah, it's it's funny sometimes because like, you like to talk about your friends and stuff to your parents and stuff like that. And like I'll say like I played games tonight with like, you know, P-Man or whatever. Like I'll say the real name, but like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, he's
yeah,
from, he's from Canada. It's like I feel like
yeah,
I'm in first grade, like showing off my friends to my parents and stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's, it's that's how like I don't know. It does feel a little bit weird sometimes, but
My okay, yeah. My parents, I think they had a tough time at first, like kind of understanding what I was doing, because they thought I was basically just like degenerately
right.
playing video games most of the
Yeah.
day, which in a sense is almost kind of true. But um, like, so for example, recently, so I try to call my mom a lot now that I'm at school,
Yeah, for sure.
just to let her know how I'm doing and
No,
stuff. And
absolutely.
I was talking to her, and I was just telling her, I'm like, yeah, I met this person in my Twitch chat, and she speaks like 3 or 4 different languages, and I was just talking about it, and she was just like, oh, okay, okay. But it's just like, to me, it's just like I just like talking to people, meeting people, and yeah.
But I think it's okay that like that generation doesn't really understand. Like it's
Oh
fine.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's just
yeah.
how it is, right? Like
Times are
it's
changing.
yeah,
Yeah,
what matters is what
yeah,
is how we look at it, right? How
for
we
sure.
feel about it, how it impacts us. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's definitely tough for the boomers to understand.
Dude, one time I called my mom a boomer, and she got mad at me because she said it was a slur, and I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
Mom, like, no. Like, calling boomer, saying that boomer is a slur, that makes you boomer. That,
That's so funny.
yeah.
Oh my
So,
gosh. It's true, yeah. No. Oh my god. Um that's funny. So yeah, it sounds like you're doing the best that you can do though. And that's all you
for
can
sure,
do, in
for
terms of
sure. Yeah,
adapting. It's hard, dude. And yeah, make sure you stay in touch with the people that you're close to and let them know how you're
absolutely.
doing. That's
Yeah,
that's important. And
I'm trying to make that a priority. Yeah.
it does get easier. Have you met some people in your dorm? You've a
Oh, yeah,
decent
yeah, yeah. No,
connection with your
I've met
roommates,
plenty
so
of people.
that's good.
There have been like, they have all like these freshman activities, just like random like
Yeah,
parties,
for
like
sure.
freshman get-togethers.
Yeah.
Literally, like I went to one of these, like the school organizes them, of
Yeah.
course. And I went to one of these, and literally me and my roommate, we just went around introducing ourselves to people, and I got like 20 Snapchats that night, and like I talked to some of those people now, so
Yeah, it's sick.
no, it's good.
You should have your name
So
tag. Name tag just says Lozoots. Twitch.tv
yeah,
slash
that's what I
Lozoots.
do,
Say
dude. I
Defeat
got
Ganon.
recognized in one of my classes.
No way. Come on.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I didn't. No,
Because dude, I
no,
mean,
I didn't. No, no, I
no,
didn't.
it's funny because I remember before in one of your streams we're talking about like kind of theorizing how popular you were. Like thinking about by the way, I'm getting like a green flicker. I don't know if it's my webcam. It's not a huge deal, but
I don't know. Yeah, I'm noticing that too.
it's too bad.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
It's
Yeah,
not a
it's
big
okay.
deal. Let's just keep going.
Yeah, it's
Whatever.
alright.
But yeah, I think you've made quite a splash in the OOT community and on Twitch. I think it's pretty cool, dude. Like, I
I've
mean,
made, yeah.
yeah, for sure. It's okay to like. Are you trying not to let your ego out today?
I will try to. Yes, I will try to.
But it's like it's okay to recognize that um you've done well. You've done really well. Um and I think your stream has gotten better too. Like, yo, you know what actually we should talk about? We should talk
Yeah.
about the stream unlimited. What
Dude,
what
I'm so down.
what gave you the idea to do that?
All right. Here's what happened. Um.
Yeah, take your time. It's all
So
good.
I was speedrunning Breath of the Wild at the time. I was doing all main quests restricted, right?
Yeah.
So the category is like 3 hours. Pretty much one day I was running the game. I was just doing runs like I normally would, and I started to get pretty tired, and I was like, I should probably get some sleep. I don't. But I kind of want to do more runs. So pretty much, we ended up deciding I'll just keep stream on. I'll just do a 24-hour stream, whatever. And so I woke up. I did more runs the next day, and the same thing happened. I was getting tired, and all of a sudden it was like, yeah, I think I should sleep. Well, Bells, who's an active chatter in my stream, he I believe his longest stream ever was like 38 hours or something, and I'm like, well, I might as well just try to beat that. So I went to sleep, woke up, beat it, did more runs, and then I just decided, well, I mean, why would I stop now, you know? And then I went on for a month. It was the dumbest thing I've ever done. Literally, it was the entirety of that stream was me just saying, I mean, why would I stop it now? You know, like I didn't have a goal. I was just kind of like, why would I stop it? I might as well just keep it going. So
it's interesting to try out different stuff, right? Like even if you're not, even if it's not subathon, or you're not like you know, whatever, totally invested in it, just leave the stream on, see what happens. It
was fun.
Yeah,
I think aspects of it were pretty fun.
Yeah,
I definitely enjoyed it. So
when did you start streaming, and what did that look like?
So I started streaming in 2017. I started speedrunning in 2013.
Yeah.
So I had done runs and I had practiced a lot before I had ever started streaming, but so I started in 2017 and I've pretty much been streaming since. I've taken breaks and whatnot, but actually, interestingly enough, what actually kickstarted me to finally start streaming was I watched the Summoning Salt video, the 120 star world record progression.
Yeah.
And for some reason, watching that was just like, oh my gosh, that looks like that used to be me. I need to get back to it. And all of a sudden, I felt like streaming. And yeah.
What were you running when you first started streaming?
Nice little piece of Lozoots trivia. The first game I ever did runs of was Super Mario 64.
Really?
It was not Ocarina of Time. So, I did 16 star. Yeah.
Were you doing that for a lot of the time when you weren't streaming before that, or were you doing OOT also?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It just happened to be when I started. Well, like when my capture setup like arrived from Amazon, I just happened to be like in SM64.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Interesting.
But then I went back to OT. So
yeah. I thought it was a really cool period of time. Wow, saying that sounds so wrong, but I was gonna say when you were getting a lot of the Any % records was kind of a neat period of time. I'm sure people will disagree with that general statement because of SRM and Ace, but I want you to walk me through like what was that like, and you hopped on it, like you hopped right on it and you started getting some records.
It's kind of a blur. A lot of it was obviously a very surreal experience.
Yeah.
But kind of what happened. So up to that point, prior to that, I never averaged more than like 20 viewers because I had been running. Defeat Ganon was Any % at the time, but Defeat Ganon and Ganonless, which are not super popular, especially because Defeat Ganon I was doing it specifically on the N64, which is much less popular. So
I do want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we can. Sure. What was I saying? The Defeat Ganon. Oh yeah. Much less popular. So I wasn't averaging a lot of viewers.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, this SRM and Ace stuff gets discovered, and everyone in the community is kind of just like absolutely like just flabbergasted. Like, how is this even possible? And lucky for me, very active person in my community is Blinny, who is also a very active glitch hunter. So the way that I remember it, pretty much what happened was I was talking to him or something, and I asked him, I'm like, how realistic would it be for someone to actually do this, like RTA? And he's like, someone could probably do it. I'll teach you. And then he just he just coached me through it. I learned Any %. I was originally learning it from a paste bin from the Discord.
Wow.
It was the dumbest thing ever, and it was crazy because like this route was all these values and routes were the route was created, and then I think it was literally like less than 24 hours later I was doing runs of it. It was kind of crazy. It all just happened really quickly. but it was obviously very fun. So
Yeah, for sure. Cause like I remember, yeah, I didn't really know who you were back then, and I think I kind of found out who you were because I I loved me as the FG highlight video,
yeah,
and I was watching him run Ace around that time, and it said world record is blah 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 by Lozoots, and I was like,
that are you serious? Is that actually like how you heard of me for the first
yeah,
time? Interesting.
dude,
That's
that's
crazy.
and like getting world record does a lot for you,
It
like
does.
right? I
It
mean,
really
I think.
does.
And it not just for your popularity, but like you must feel good that, and we don't have to talk about the time, but you must feel good that you actually have the world record in Defeat Ganon now. Like,
I do.
right?
Part of me feels good. Part of me also doesn't feel good enough because I'm not quite where I want.
But that's
My
fine.
time isn't quite where I want it to be.
It's a
But you know,
project.
it's no. I do think world records. I do personally think that world records are a little bit overstated or overemphasized in speedrunning, just because I feel like that's not really what the heart of speedrunning should be about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, like no one's gonna deny, like no world record holder is gonna deny, like, oh yeah, it feels pretty good. So like it's a cool feeling for sure.
But I think the OT community does a pretty good job at that. At like,
Yeah, yeah,
in a way, we're very what's the way to say it? We're competitive and non-competitive at the same
yeah,
time. Like
yeah. No, I know exactly
with
what
a
you mean.
leaderboard, it's right. I mean, there's
Yeah,
competition, of
yeah,
course, like
for
literally.
sure, for sure.
But at the same time, like everyone's cheering each other on. Everyone's super
Yeah.
supportive. Um,
Hmm.
it's just such a great collaboration almost
Exactly.
of
It's
competition. It's
it is
interesting.
it is competitive in a sense, but at the same time, like we all want to see each other succeed.
Yeah.
Like, okay, when I got record, when I beat Richard, he was not upset at all. He
No.
was ridiculously happy for me, and he was, well, he was relieved that he didn't have a target on his back anymore, but he was also just like, he was just happy. He's like, you know what, man, that's awesome. Good for you. So it has this really, the OT community does have a supportive environment in that aspect for sure.
I think I think it was good for the community not only to have a new record holder. It's always good to have some kind of fresh thing implemented,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
also your the strats that you use and the way you play the game is new for a lot of people. Um, I mean, obviously, the trick that everyone talks about is Bob Hess.
Right,
Um,
right.
and a lot of people just see it as a joke.
Yeah.
Torj was doing it when he had his little comeback that didn't last very long, but it was cool to watch him for a little bit come back.
Hmm.
And then you started doing it. Well, I mean, when you started running Defeat Ganon, you were just doing it. And it's a very very difficult trick, but what I don't know. What do you think is the threshold from going from just saying this trick is way too hard, RTA, this trick is a joke, to going over to if I do this enough, if I practice this hard enough, I can implement it into my speedruns?
Um, that's a very very open-ended question. That very much would depend on the trick, obviously. Like for me personally, Baba Hess was one of those things. Like I never ran Defeat Ganon OSRM,
Yeah.
like the game route. I never ran that. Uh, so I watched it a decent amount, and I always saw how Baba Hess was kind of just like, it was more of a meme than anything.
Yeah.
And I just remember like I would be messing around in Ocarina of Time, and I'd just like try it, and it was like I'd get the Hess every now and then, and crossing the gap was obviously harder.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like at some point I kind of realized it's like you can definitely make a setup to at least semi-consistently get the Hess. So that's what I did. I did the shielding where you double tap the Baba, and then that makes the timing a lot easier to see. And then crossing the gap is more just like you kind of just have to be able to get the angle, kind of know what you're looking for. But I think a lot of things in Ocarina of Time, the threshold for like if it's too difficult, like if there's a setup for it, or if you can make a decently reliable setup, you can do it. So, for example, Yolo Escape. For many years, people did Navi Dive or just regular Aqua Escape with
Right.
the setup against the wall. And then this new strategy referred to as YOLO Escape was discovered, where you don't do a setup and you just go for it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of misleading because YOLO Escape, which is setupless, is a setup because you're looking at a texture on the ground. So, but like a few years before YOLO Escape was being done, people said like there was no way in hell that it was ever going to be reliable.
Yeah.
But people got to it. People made a setup. So I think like as long as there's a way to sort of make it at least somewhat reliable, that you're not resetting there every single time, I think it's worth it. But that's me personally.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Because it's like a method to the madness, right? Like if there's a method to something, no matter how crazy it seems, how powerful it seems, it's possible, right? And then you you take that idea of it becoming possible and you work at it. So there's a process, and it's a difficult process, but if you do it right and you do it for long enough, it works. Um, and I think that can apply to a lot of different things in speedrunning, right? I mean, learning a category, right? I mean, like you said, pretty much everything that's done RTA has a setup. So if like I recently learned the very basics of GSR when I took a short break from Defeat Ganon, and yeah, it's like Zelly has a great video, and it outlines everything, and in a few days I was doing tricks that I'd always seen and just said like, there's no way I'd be able to do that. So I mean, first of all, it's awesome that we have a bunch of resources, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
By the way, I didn't realize like your YouTube channel is pretty extensive. Like you have some tutorials, right? You have tutorials. You have so many runs.
Yeah.
Not really, but maybe I don't know. I was
scrolling
through some of your stuff last night. I watched three gameplays of yours last night before this. I watched the world record. I watched the run that you had, I think it was 2 days ago, where you were at 1630 pace. How do you play that well for like?
I don't know, dude. Okay, even me, I'm a very like, I don't usually get super nervous. Sometimes I do if it's a really good run like that, but usually I'm like at least decent at controlling my nerves.
Right.
But that run, I was just like, dude, I don't even know. I don't know how that happened. I was it was just like, it seemed like I was hitting everything. It's this weird thing that happens to me where I feel like I'll be doing a run and it's like I could try to screw something up and it's just gonna work. Like I don't have to think about it. It's just the stars are aligning. It's gonna work. That's how I felt. Like when I hit Instaclip that run, that's how I felt. I was like, I feel like I didn't deserve that, but you know what? Like, or wait, no, sorry, not Instaclip. I meant Instaclip in my 1640.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sorry.
That was a really great Instaclip because the rock was pretty far. Dude,
yeah.
I was watching. Oh my god,
yeah, I liked watching your reaction. That was funny. But it was that run where I was just thinking like, this run wasn't very good. I didn't deserve this. And then I hit Instaclip and I'm like, I guess it's just meant to be. I guess, you know.
But do you think that a lot of that, like, being able to control your nerves and also the muscle memory taking over and like kind of just being able to do stuff, like even if you try to not do it wrong, you think that just comes from speedrunning for so long? Yeah,
for sure.
Like no matter what category you're doing.
I think a lot of it is, I almost think that my ego, as we'll call it, has helped me in that sense, because a lot of times like I'll be doing runs of Defeat Ganon and like I'll be on a really good run and I won't really be nervous at all, because I'll just be thinking like, man, like I can do a lot better than this. Even if it's a really good run, I'll just be thinking it's my inner ego. I'll just be saying like, I can do a lot better than this. Like I really shouldn't even care that much. And I think another example of that is Ouija. in 16 star for SM64. From what I've seen, he's just like ridiculously good, and he just has this kind of mindset where it's like he knows that he can be like undisputably the greatest of all time at 16 star, and I think that helps his mindset because he doesn't get nearly as nervous, because if he's on a really good run, he doesn't freak himself out because he's like, I'm probably just going to end up beating this later anyway.
I mean, I think it's one thing to be confident and to trust your abilities, and it's just a whole nother thing to be an asshole, right? Like, it's, I mean, to put it quite frankly, like, I think it's totally fine to think, I think it's fine internally to think that you could be the greatest, right? If you're saying that
sure.
everywhere, then it's different,
Yeah,
right?
that's different.
So,
But
it's fine to have that within you and to be able to use that, though.
yeah, well, I think the thing is, like, I've always had this, like most speedrunners, I have a very perfectionist kind of mindset.
For sure.
So it's like, even if I get like a really good run, I'll get a really good run that people will say like, man, that run was really good, almost no mistakes. I'll get so hung up on just these small mistakes. I'm like, could have been a second there, 2 seconds there, you know? It's just hard. It's hard for me to be satisfied. And I think, like, a lot of times when I'm running Defeat Ganon, it's like I'll be on a really good run, like, literally, I could be on like 16, low 1630 pace, and but I'll be telling myself like, but I lost a second and a half at Gim.
What am
like,
I doing?
well, it's not even that. It's just like I'll be like, man, this run's pretty good, but like I lost a second and a half at Gim. I'm probably gonna have to end up running against this again anyway. It's just like that's just kind of how I think, and I think it's kind of beneficial in a sense. But at the same time, when you're actually on like a perfect run, that's when I start to freak out a little bit, because it's like, oh my gosh, this is a perfect run. I can't screw this up, you know?
You reset a run this morning on like I mean, against your best, it would have been like what, a 45 or a 46.
Oh yeah.
But that was interesting
yeah.
to me, honestly, because I totally get not being able to PB and just starting over. Is that how you see Defeat Ganon? Like, do you see it's not really that important to like finish runs if you're not going to PB?
That is how I see it. I do I'm not going to say that no resets are pointless, obviously. I think no resets, they're good for practice. They're good for confidence, all that different stuff. But for me personally, like the way I see it, I know we talked about this a little earlier, but like the way I see it is like the time that I'm going to be spending finishing a run that I know won't PB, I can spend starting a new run that will PB. So in a sense, it's almost like I'm optimizing the process of speed running. So
yeah, I mean, I think at your level also, like, I'm not sure if finishing that run is going to make you better. It might for someone like at my level, or you know, someone who's starting. But I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, is there a difference there?
Well, it's not even that. I do think that like no resets, they're always good practice.
Yeah.
Obviously, because if you do anything more time, like the more you do it, the better you get at it. But for me, it's just like I just have this kind of drive where it's like I struggle to finish a run if I know it's not going to PB, because it's just like I want to do another one. Like I want to get it. I want to PB. You know?
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. So
no, for sure.
That's just how I am.
We should talk about your I also watched your N6, your 1859 and N64.
Oh yeah.
That is. Would you say that route is more difficult than the current Defeat GanoSRM route?
I gotta think about it. I wouldn't say it's really more or less difficult.
It's different,
just a lot of different stuff, because you gotta do Yolo escape. You have to do the whole Zora's River segment.
Right.
Chickens is kind of difficult in its own regard. It's very different from anything else in the game, but it is difficult to do well and consistently. And then you have to do Mito skip, and then B1 skip. Whereas Defeat GanoSRM, you're getting Sword and Shield, so you have to do all that movement. Gim is obviously really difficult. B1 jump. It's just a lot of different stuff. I wouldn't really say either is more or less difficult, but they're both difficult, I guess.
Yeah,
is the way I'll put it.
For sure.
Yeah.
I could tell that you were very, very happy at the end of that run. Like, you had some emotion in your voice. And
I was.
That's not really normally your like what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Do you still get a little giddy, like a little emotional when you have a really good, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends what your goals are, right?
For sure, for sure. The thing about that was so my N64 Defeat Ganon, that's pretty much like the first thing I ever really grinded on stream, and
Okay.
me running that category, me running that, and then me actually like getting the time that I finished with 1859. That was a 7-month process, I think. And for someone who's just started streaming and speedrunning that seriously,
Huge.
It was a very different kind of thing for me because I hadn't
Yeah, right.
really felt anything like that before.
Yeah, for sure.
Because and at the time I was literally like 13, 14 years old. So me, like a little kid like that, sitting in his basement at like 3 in the morning, and like after 7 months, the work finally pays off. It's like I felt like in that moment it was like all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm really up there, you know? Like I'm actually like pretty
Yeah.
good at this game, you know? And it was almost like a moment of kind of self-approval. I it just felt good. And the more and more that happens as you get like more records and you get better and you have higher expectations, that euphoria, I think it's still there, but it's not nearly as intense.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. It's
yeah.
like, the first championship is always special, but I mean,
Exactly,
the
exactly.
sixth one is too, but it's a different
Yeah,
kind of vibe. So I get
yeah,
that. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
All right. So you're probably you want to get that a pretty good time in Defeat Ganon. What would be a good time? What would be a time that you'd be happy with that you could then kind of move on from?
It's kind of hard to say. I think a low 1630 would be like
Really?
that's what I would want to get. Well, because I mean, I've been on runs. I was on a run today that was like
No, yeah.
1632 pace at collapse. So
I'm not saying
no,
really,
I
as in
gotcha, I
I don't
gotcha.
think you can do it. I'm saying really. That's
Yeah,
for any
no,
like
I get that.
you know what I mean.
But I mean,
For sure.
like
Let's do it.
I've lowered my sum of best a lot in the past few days,
So 23.
and I genuinely think that a 16 2x is possible. I do think it's possible. I think that someone will do it eventually. Maybe it'll be me, maybe it'll be Richard, maybe it'll be Weather. Who knows? But I do think it's possible, which I think is pretty cool considering that I think a lot of people would say there's no way that's ever going to happen.
Right.
But I think a time that I would be satisfied with is probably like a low 3x.
Yeah.
And then enough just so that like I don't have to stress about because when you only have record by half a second,
For sure.
dude, you wake up in a cold sweat. It's like I open Richard's stream just like please still be in the intro, please, 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 and yeah, it's just it'd be so much better if I had it by at least like 2 seconds, you know?
No, but I think yeah, for sure. I think once you get like a 40 or a 39, it'll
calm down a little bit
for sure.
So we'll get there. We'll get there.
So what's have you been thinking about what you want to do after it?
Yeah. So I want to once I get a time I'm satisfied with in Defeat Ganon, I want to do all dungeons no SRM. I don't have any set goals for that, but the category looks fun. The thing is like I said earlier, the way I work is just spontaneous bounce of energy, right?
Yeah.
Just like out of nowhere, randomly. So me setting a goal, saying like, oh, I want to get record in this category, I can't really do that because it's like I don't know if I'm still gonna be driven to do that in like a week, let alone like 2 months when I actually have a chance at it, you know. So the plan is I want to run the category, see how I like it, and if I don't like it, move on to something else. If I do like it, keep going. Maybe I will end up going for record. Who knows? But
I know it's interesting because Lake had a spell of trying to go for record, and then he went and did all dungeons no SRM. That's what he's doing right now. So it's kind of. But you actually
was he going for Defeat Ganon record?
Yeah, he got a 1651.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I saw his run where he played within like 2 seconds of some best all the way up to the end. That was insane.
He had been playing really, really well, and then yeah, he decided to go do all dungeons. But
Yeah.
Is there anything else? What have I missed? What should we talk about?
There's a lot, man.
Yeah,
There's a lot.
dude, go for it. You start.
I don't want to ramble too much.
Do it. I'm daring you.
I don't know, man. You gotta prompt me with something. I don't know.
I don't know. Chat, you guys have anything that you want me to ask? You want me to ask Lazi? All right. If chat comes up with something, we can ask. No, we're not gonna talk about the tier list. Favorite bits of the month stream. Oh, that's a good idea. We could talk about. Yeah, we could talk about that. We could talk about what have been like just your favorite moments in general from streaming, from speedrunning. Take us through that.
I think that's actually yeah, that's a good
We could talk a while about that.
Yeah, we certainly could. My personal, I think my favorite was running any percent.
Interesting.
And just like getting records and stuff
Yeah.
on that. Because at that time I was more kind of focused on growing my stream rather than like my speedrunning arsenal, if that makes sense.
Right.
And it was like all of a sudden my stream was like blowing up, and it was just the most fun couple of weeks like I've ever had in my life. It was like I felt like a big streamer kind of guy. I was just like streaming every day, you know. I was like always tired going to school. People are like, "Man, what's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm a streamer now," you know. Like that's how it felt.
Life.
That's how
it's the lifestyle.
It's the ego, man. And but it was just really, really fun. I met a lot of people that way. A lot of people found my stream because of that. But honestly, yeah, there was so pretty much the first day that I was doing runs, as we know, stuff happened, and then so pretty much I had to do runs in my Discord for a week straight. I don't know if you're familiar.
Not really.
But no, okay, pretty much what happened, 16-year-old was stupid.
I've
I
heard a little bit about this, but not really. But that's, hey, we make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. I was using my 16-year-old language. But
man.
So that happened, and then but pretty much I was forced to do runs in my Discord.
Yeah.
For a week instead of streaming on Twitch.
Right.
And though that was probably the most fun week ever. It was I was doing runs, but I was in a voice call the whole time, and there were always at least like 4 people watching.
Yeah.
And I just remember like it's there's actually this clip of yeah, I think it was like me, Clouds, Nachos, a bunch of people from my community. They're just watching me do runs, and I was doing a run and I was on really good pace, and then I screwed something up. And then everyone goes silent, like, oh man, that sucks. And then some guy out of nowhere just says, "My nipples just went limp." That's what he says. And everyone just loses it. Like that's the kind of environment that those runs were. It was so fun. It was so fun.
It's cool though, like that you had something to fall back on though. Like you're always gonna have people who support you, you know?
For sure. For sure.
And it's important. Like, dude, I've screwed up so bad in my life. Around your age, man, I was doing stuff that
yeah.
like crazy, but there were always people in my life who were there to guide me back on the right track and stuff. And yeah, like I feel like my community is an addition to that, right? It's a support group. Yeah. And
that's exactly.
I'm not afraid to open up to my stream about stuff that's going on in my life because it's important to use what you have and not use, but
utilize.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
right.
Of course.
And yeah, I think it's also good to share stuff with your stream because
of course
it enforces kind of just they know that you care, that they care and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think that's good.
Yeah, I've had my emotional streams for sure. there have been times where I just
Feel
like,
strong.
yeah,
It
exactly.
happens. It happens for sure. And
Yeah,
it
it
depends on the day,
happens.
right? I mean, we're having a not so
Yeah,
good day. I mean,
yeah,
sometimes, right? We all got our cups, and sometimes the cups overflow a little bit, and
yeah,
gotta find a way
yeah.
to deal with that.
No, but there have been times where like there'd be stuff that there were things that I was dealing with, and it was like all of a sudden before I knew it, I was like, I was just spilling all this stuff to chat,
Yeah.
and it was like, but like they're very supportive, you
Yeah.
know, and they're always like, it's this that's kind of the beautiful part of streaming to
Oh
me.
yeah.
Um, it's just having this group of people that I know I can always rely on, even because like I've made a lot of mistakes. We all know that I've made plenty of mistakes. Like I've learned from them, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like I know that like when I do make these mistakes, I know that there's going to be this group of people that I can come back to, and I can talk to them, and you know they can
Absolutely.
sympathize and empathize, and it's very very comforting for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just the sense of community is really 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 nice to me. I don't know how else to say it. It's just
No,
this
absolutely.
beautiful thing to me.
It is beautiful. Yeah, it's interesting. It's special because eh, everyone doesn't get everyone doesn't have a chat, you know,
Yeah,
or a community.
yeah,
And like, you know, you work really hard as a streamer to build your community and to improve your stream, improve your skills, or, you know, whether that's your streaming skills, whatever
for
you
sure,
do on stream. And, you know, part of kind of the reward of that is that there are two sides of it, right? There's the hard work, but there's also the enjoyment factor.
for sure,
And
for sure.
it's not just, you know, venting the chat and telling about your problems. It's also um, you know, when you have a community, you don't have to force yourself really to talk in
Of
stream, right? You're
course,
bouncing off of your
exactly,
chat.
exactly.
Um,
That's the thing. A lot of people when they're first starting streaming, it's tough. Like I
yeah,
remember when I first started streaming, like I wouldn't have anyone in chat, and like some
same.
days I'd just be energetic. I'd really try to just like talk about whatever. Other days I'd just be like, man, I don't really feel like it. Whatever. But all it really takes is one or two people in chat, and you just
For sure.
have a conversation, start bouncing off, and that's the thing about streaming. Like your growth is exponential.
Yeah.
It becomes so much easier to grow once you've already grown a little. You know?
I think something that helped me a lot was that really didn't happen to me until I started streaming OOT. And
Yeah.
so, right, I went into the OOT Speedrunning Discord. I started asking questions.
Yeah.
I started to follow people on Twitch. I started watching Weather. I started watching Richard because I was learning Defeat Ganon NoSRM. So those were the
Right.
people who
Right.
I watched.
Of course. Yeah.
And one of the cool things is that I came from a community where the top people in the community just did not give the light of day at all to
Hmm.
anybody else. And like
Yeah.
the icons in our community will talk to you. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um and that's something that like really drew me, and it's like now I can consider a lot of people who are, you know, really really good at this game my friends, and it's really cool. And people who are, you know, really established as streamers. And but yeah, you know, I mean, you start talking in a Twitch chat, you start to get to know more about someone else, they start to get to know more about you. You branch out to even more communities, you know, somebody raids someone and it's like, oh, let me check them out. Um, and I almost don't want to say it's easy, but the OT community makes it very doable to get to know people. And I've found this last year to be awesome. Like I've improved my stream a lot. Like I got
Yeah.
a new webcam, you know, I made my layout
Hmm.
better and stuff, but
For sure.
I don't think I would have had the motivation to do that if I didn't get a nice boost that, like, you know, look, if you work hard and you show that, you know, you you're good at, you know, generally interacting with your chat, and you're good at
Hmm.
interacting with the game and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are gonna, you know, people are gonna find their way into your stream, and then, you know,
Yeah.
keeping them there is a whole nother thing. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think I think it's really cool that you got kind of a boost from like going for ace, but like are there other things
Yeah,
are
yeah.
there other things that you feel like have really helped your stream? Is it like do you I don't know, do you watch a lot of Twitch or are you like
I
in
do
a part of
sometimes.
communities?
I
Yeah.
do. I'm trying to think. I watch I don't watch a whole lot of speedruns. I watch a lot of SM64 because that's
Okay.
good. Like I fall asleep to it, you know.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, what
good sleepy stream
good
stuff, you
sleepy
know.
stream.
Um, and I don't watch a whole lot of OT streamers, um, but like I stop by every now and then, say hi, I'll hang out for a bit. Like every now and then, like for example, like weather stream or something, I'll just pop in, say
Yeah.
hi, ask him, just how you
Dropping
doing?
dropping that GL can make someone's day. You know?
Exactly,
Just
exactly. Just like seeing a new face or seeing
yeah,
someone you haven't
for
seen in a
sure.
while, sometimes it just gives you that
Yeah.
boost of energy. Um, I don't think especially as of recently, I haven't been like super interactive with the community, just because
You've
I
been
don't
busy
know.
with going into school and stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
But it doesn't also have to be who you are, you know? I mean,
Oh, for
not
sure.
everyone is
Yeah,
completely involved, and that's
for
totally
sure.
fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, I try to stay present, say hi to people. You
Yeah.
know, just you know, like I'm still a person. They're people. You know, I just want to be nice. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Wish them a good luck, whatever. Hope they're having a good stream, all that stuff. But I think a lot of the time that I could be spending watching Twitch, I'm like actually just speedrunning or streaming myself. So that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's hard to balance like streaming and watching others stream. So
What last question I have,
Mhm.
but what advice would you give for streaming, but also definitely for speedrunning? For someone who's starting out or someone who's maybe struggling a bit because you've been through a lot in your speedrunning and streaming career. So, and you're at a good point right now. You're at a point where you
Yeah,
can go
for
in a lot of
sure,
different directions. You have a really, really great community.
for sure.
So yeah, what kind of advice would you give someone?
Okay, forgive me if I ramble on here, but
No, it's all good.
just bottom line, you just want to have fun with it, and that may seem like a very obvious thing to say, but it's really easy if you're streaming and you're staring at your viewer count the whole time. It's incredibly discouraging, and like honestly, I would advise people like don't even look at your viewer count while you're streaming. I don't like I don't want to, you know. It doesn't really matter. To me, like I don't like I always have people in chat. So as long as there's someone to talk to, I don't care about the viewer count, because if I'm talking and you know I'm having fun, the viewer count's going to increase over time regardless. So streaming it can be kind of discouraging at first, especially if you don't have people to talk to. But just keep doing whatever you're doing. Just have fun. If you're speedrunning, just try to enjoy the speedrun. If you're doing something casual, just enjoy whatever game you're playing. Try to have a personality, and just you want to try to foster that welcoming atmosphere.
For sure.
And it's kind of a tough process, but it's one you have to trust. Like the people will come. You know, that's something I can't stress enough. No matter how discouraged you might be, like don't worry about it. Don't worry if there's no one in chat. Don't worry if you don't have any viewers. The people will come, because literally all it takes is one person to come into your stream and say, hey, how's it going? That one person, you start talking to them, you could become really good friends with them. And all it takes is that one person to start bouncing things off of, and it's that much easier to talk. And then more people that check out your stream, they say, oh, look at this guy, you know, he seems nice, you know, he's cracking jokes, whatever, you know, like all it takes is one person. And you know what, if someone stops in chat and you say hi and then they don't end up sticking around, don't let that discourage you, because that happens. That's just the internet. There have been people who have come to my stream who literally just say like, man, you're the coolest guy ever, you know, like I'm gonna follow you, like I'll see you next time. I never saw them again, literally never.
That
um
happens. Yeah. It's
exactly,
part of
so
the job.
don't let it get you down. that's streaming. That's life, really. Things are gonna start slow, but you gotta trust the process. It'll work itself out. It really will. Um, I mean, you should take it from me of all people. Like, I was 13 when I started streaming. I had nobody, and I just kept doing it. I just enjoyed speedrunning, and I mean, to be totally honest, like, I wanted to grow my community, of course, but like, I didn't, I wasn't super fixated on any like statistics or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, in terms of speedrunning, I would give similar advice. Just have fun with it. Um, Actually, if anything, I would emphasize this more, but don't set unrealistic goals for yourself when you're speedrunning. It's really easy to say, like, honestly, some people might disagree with me on this, but I always personally thought that it's silly to be completely new to a game or category or whatever and say, like, I want record, I'm going to get record. And not to say that it's bad to set goals, but you don't want to set unrealistic goals, because that's when it starts to get discouraging, and you just want to have fun with it. Like, the way that I always treat things is, like, I'll start a new category and I'll just run it. I just want to have fun with it. I'll just see if I like the category, and I'll just slowly lower my time. And at some point, like, if I get within a certain range of record, if I want to make that a goal for myself, I will, but only if it's a realistic one. Like, so for example, when I was running Ganonless, I didn't start the category. Actually, I started Ganonless. A lot of people don't know this. I started Ganonless with the mindset, I'm never chasing another world record again, because the grind before that, it was like 7 months. It was for a 14-year-old. That's a long time,
Yeah, no, for anyone.
So I was telling myself, like, I'm just gonna run this for fun. Like, I don't want to chase a record. I just want to, like, because at the end of the day, speedrunning is just supposed to be about improving yourself, right? And of course, there's a competitive nature as well. But like, the heart of speedrunning is supposed to be racing against yourself, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted it to be. But at some point, I ended up getting within, I don't know, like 30 seconds of record, and I said, like, you know what? Why not? Let's make it a goal, because I knew that I could do it. It's really easy to get ahead of yourself and say, I want to get record, and then give up really soon after. But I guess the main takeaway from this is just have fun. Don't just try not to do anything that's going to discourage yourself. Like, don't worry about your view count. Don't worry about your times. Just have fun. Be happy. At the end of the day, it's a hobby. That's what it's supposed to be about. And if you want to grow your stream, it'll happen. If you want to get better at speedrunning, it'll happen. You just keep working at it. Things will work out.
Damn. Well said. Good job.
That's my 18-year-old wisdom.
That's
what I've learned. That's what I've learned.
Don't sell yourself short, man. I mean, that was really well said. I know you're saying you're 18-year-olds, but dude, like,
that's how I feel.
You're doing well.
That's genuinely how I feel.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm glad you liked it.
No, I did. Yeah, for sure. All right. I got a little bit of trivia here. That's how we're gonna end. All right.
And boy, I'm gonna be so bad at
I'm gonna let you do your college partying.
I'm not partying, bro.
Going out on the town.
Oh yeah, sure.
All right. You ready? All right. We're gonna start.
Right.
We're gonna start easy. All right. Because you've been around this game. So, all right. Okay. This is a question that both Weather and Richard got wrong. Okay. What is the owl's name in Ocarina of Time?
Kepora Geboro.
Boom! Got it. Are you surprised they got that wrong?
Yeah, what did they say?
They just didn't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were just like, I don't know.
Okay.
All right. 1 out of 1. 1 out of 1.
All right.
We're going to get a little harder here.
100%.
I think I'm going to get you on this one. This one's hard.
All right. You probably will. I'm terrible at this stuff.
How many chickens are in Talon's Cuckoo game? After he releases 3, right?
Yeah.
So after he releases the 3, how many are there?
So aside from the 3?
No, I mean you can do either.
Or including
right?
including
Including the three. Including the three.
I would let me think. Jeez. I honestly I want to say including the three. I want to say like 11 or 12. Let me here. I'll give you a specific answer. I feel like the game devs wouldn't make it 11. But I feel like 10's too short, or too low. I feel like 12's too high. Yeah, I'll go with 12. Yeah.
So the answer is 13.
It's 13, really?
Yeah, so it's
okay.
10 before he releases them, and
Really?
yeah, shout out to was it J Daddy who gave me that? Yeah, J Daddy helped me.
Huh. That's a good question.
Went into
actually. That's a good one.
GZ and took a look. All right, this one I believe is from P-Man.
Oh boy.
So this one's even more difficult.
Here we go.
What is the official name of the frogs in the minigame in Zor's River?
They have names? What?
Apparently, yeah.
You're
not
how many
gonna
frogs are
get
there?
this.
There's 7, right?
There's one for each adult song,
There's
right?
6. Yeah, I think so. Oh, and then there's the frog song. We'll go with no, I can't do. I was gonna make a Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs reference. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so it's the fabulous.
I was gonna say like sleepy, grumpy, whatever.
No, I guess there's a name for all of them. They're called the fabulous.
Oh yeah, there's 5.
The fabulous 5 froggish tenors.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, no.
All right, here's an easier question. Name all the songs in OoT.
Zelda's Lullaby. Wait, all the like including
All of
warping
them,
songs.
including the
All of
warping
them.
songs.
Okay, this is gonna be.
This is the last
I'm
one.
gonna-
This is it.
Zelda's Lullaby, Song of Storms, Song of Time, Epona's song, Saria's song.
There's
Did
one
I say
more.
Song of Storms? I think I said Song
You
of
said
Storms.
Song of Storms. There's one more non-warp song.
Yeah.
Come
Frog
on.
song.
The
No, I
frog
know
song.
it. I have to know it for Hundo. Just give me a sec here.
Come on, Lozzy.
Oh, Sun Song.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
And
I love
then
warp songs.
there is.
These are kind of difficult.
Okay, here we go. Prelude of Light.
Yep.
Minuet of Forest.
Yep.
Serenade of Water.
Yep.
Trying to. I forgot. Why am I forgetting? Hold on. I know this.
Let's go.
I know this.
Claps in the chat. Come on, Loz.
I know this. Oh yeah, Requiem of Spirit.
Yep.
Is it Requiem or Requiem?
I think it's
or...
Requiem.
I think it's Requiem. Yeah. Okay. And then there's 2 more, right?
There's 2 more. Yeah, you're missing 2 kind of in between.
Bolero of Fire.
Yep. One more.
And then. Oh, and then Nocturne of Shadow. Yeah.
Let's go.
Wait, were the other people able to name all of them?
I don't always ask the same questions.
Oh, okay.
But that's pretty good. Yeah, that's a question that I'd like to ask more consistently. I always ask the owl to start
Guys,
off.
he said clap, not Pepe laugh. What? Oh my god.
Now can we get claps in the chat?
Yeah, there we go.
Good job,
I got it. Thanks.
All right. This was fun. I hope that you had a good time.
This was fun.
Yeah.
I actually had a very good time.
Let's do it
Sorry
again
if I
sometime.
rambled a little
No,
too
you're
much.
good.
I know you said you wanted to make it a little shorter.
No,
Sorry
this is
if I was a little
perfect. This
too-
is a good
Alright,
length.
Good.
All right, guys. So obviously, if you do exclamation point guess too, it'll come up with, let's see. Did I do this well? Yeah, just lots of stuff. It's also underneath him, just his Twitch and his Twitter. And yeah, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
I had
of
a
course.
lot of fun. This
Anytime.
was good. This was
Yeah.
good.
Definitely want to, especially now that we're doing them live. I want to try to get even people who I've already done on the show.
Yeah.
But
For sure.
yeah, this was fun. Have a fun evening.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
You
it.
too. You too.
I am gonna end stream. We could raid somebody. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. So again, I'm sorry that I didn't talk to you guys that much during Mind the Streamer. That's how we do these. Obviously, giving our guests the attention. But thank you guys so much for coming to watch. Let's see who we can raid.